Welcome back to Running. I'm Zachariah Hughes, now joined by 3 candidates for Seat B in the Anchorage School Board elections. Star Marset, welcome.
Welcome, or thank you for having me.
Kay Ellen Schuster.
Thank you.
And David Neese.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you all for coming in and for taking time to come on our program. And Ms. Marset, why don't we start with you and your opening statements?
Well, I'm Star Marset, and I'm running for School Board Seat B. I'm running because our current school board, although very amazing, dedicated individuals, have not made academic achievement a priority. They've been focusing on operations and budget. As a new school board member, I would make academic achievement priority. We need a dedicated, experienced, knowledgeable, and someone with fortitude to be our next school board member.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Schuster.
Yes, my name is Kay Schuster. I'm running for school board. I'm a lifelong Alaskan, been in the schools now for 17 years as a special education teacher, and I would like to focus on achievement gap, fiscal gap, and also family values. And my 17 years of experience gives me firsthand knowledge of what programs we need to continue with.
Okay, and thank you. And Mr. Neese, to you.
Yeah, hi, thank you, Zach. I've been working for the Anchorage School District since 1983, first as a teacher and a coach, and then moving on to give them advice from the Alaska Policy Forum. Worked on the House Sustainable Education Task Force. We recommended that you didn't need more money, you just needed to spend it more wisely. I'm probably the only person sitting at the table that has testified more times in front of the House and Senate and school board than the others. So I think I bring a depth of knowledge that my opponents do not bring.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to move over into questions, and so it'll rotate between. And so, Ms. Marset, the first question is to you. State funding for the school district's budget is likely to continue declining, and I'm curious what alternative funding or spending models you think can bridge that gap.
Well, it's going to be interesting when you talk about alternative or spending gaps. I know, and I've asked for the last 5 budgets from the school board and also the breakdown per department so that I can take a closer look at that. I actually think that the school board is using special education as a savings account, and so I think that's where they're getting their surplus funds, such as the $9 million for buses that could have been spent on student achievement.
Mm-hmm. And so, Mr. Neese, the same question to you.
Well, it's all budget allocation. You don't need more money. You need to use the money you have wisely. The state's audit of the school district says they're spending 70% on instruction, but I'll guarantee you when you look at their school budget, it's 48% going to the schools. And they are slushing the money around. It's a blank check that they give them. They say, here, spend it, but there's no controls on where they spend it. So you have to have good judgment in the school district, and they haven't been exercising it for years. Their 6-year plan came up for review, and they missed the mark completely on enrollment and what they were going to spend things on.
Ms. Schuster.
Our administration is 3 times larger than districts around the same size as ours, and so that would be the first place where we could reallocate the funds. The money is there, and we need just to focus on where the best place is for that. And it's not creating more programs within the district. It's finding the programs that work and continuing with those and strengthening those programs.
Okay. So the next question, we'll start with you, Mr. Neese. Do you think that achievement and opportunity are spread evenly across the district, and why or why not?
No, I've testified for years that it is not. Your East Anchorage schools are underperforming. When we got the district said for years that everybody's doing fairly good, and under the old testing model, it looked like that. In a classroom of 30, 20 kids seemed to be doing okay. When we got last year's test, we found out it was actually reversed. We have some schools where nobody's proficient. And I think that until you address that problem, the school board spent 4% of its time talking about academics in the last 6 months. You're not going to address that problem. I guarantee you, if I'm on the school board, I will be bringing that up at each and every meeting.
And rest assured, we will have a testing question later on.
Good.
So lest we
written response.
skirt over that, yeah. Multiple choice. Ms. Schuster, the same question to you.
But can you repeat it, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that achievement and opportunity are spread evenly across the district schools?
Well, it's very difficult to say just because schools that have English language learners, those schools struggle a little bit more, quite a bit more, because they're learning the language. And so we have to take that into account. They do have extra funding for tutors and other teachers to help with the English language. But they also take a couple years to get up to speed with the English language, and then they'll start achieving as well.
Okay. And Ms. Marcet, same question.
Well,
to
I, as David too, have testified in the past on our achievement gap. We have the most diverse schools in the country, yet we have the widest gap in our achievement. No, it's not equal. I've always said that education provides equality. I think in this case we're not doing a good job at that, and we're failing our students that are in most need and at risk for services that we're not providing.
you. Okay. The next question, Ms. Schuster, we'll start with you. A serious criticism of Anchorage's governing bodies is that elected officials don't represent the demographic diversity citywide. And I'm curious what diversity means to you and how you'll put that into policy and practice if you're elected to school board.
Well, like Star said, there's a lot of diversity in the Anchorage School District. And we have embraced that. Our school district right now has embraced it. And we are being culturally responsive and providing services for kids with many, many diversities, whether it's English language, whether it's cultural, whether it's learning differences. And so we will continue to embrace that
Okay.
and support.
Ms. Marcet.
I kind of lost track of the question. I'm sorry.
Let me ask it again.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just with a widespread criticism of some of the governing bodies in Anchorage that the people sitting on the boards don't represent the city's
Right.
full range of diversity.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm just curious what diversity means to you and how you'll put that
I'm
into
actually serve on the MECAC, which is the Multi-Education Concerns Advisory Committee, which actually looks at things that might come before the school that affect academic achievement for our different cultures and ethnicities in our schools, and we report that to the superintendent. I also have put forth a proposal for out-of-school as a substitute for alternative to out-of-school suspensions, because we suspend our boys of color and children with disabilities 2 to 3 times more than any other student. So those are some of the things that I've done. Also, we need to look at our textbooks and make sure that we're including a lot of diversity in our textbooks, and definitely look for teachers that meet the diversity within our school district.
Thank you. And Mr. Neese, the question's to you.
It was on the governing body, basically.
Well, it's more about diversity and how you put your definition of diversity into practice on the school board.
Well, I think that, like Star said, we have a very diverse school district. We do not have a diverse school board. We do not have diverse administrators. So you have to grow your own inside there. So if you've got a really good teacher and you want to bring them up. But the main thing you can do is you change the way you elect your school board. This is a citywide race that pretty much excludes anybody that's not rich. So if you don't have the money to run for school board, you're never going to get any diversity in there. So by going to going away from an area-wide model for school board and going to local representation, I think you could bring some of the people in. You could bring people in from Mountain View if you only had a seat for Mountain View, because you're not going to get them in. It's cost prohibitive. There's no way you can do it. But diversity in the schools, you have to grow up your administrators.
Thank you. Ms. Marcet, a question for you. What are you looking for in a new superintendent? What are you hoping that superintendent can achieve?
Definitely a leader. We do have, I'm going to say we have good public schools. I believe that we do good things and that we are educating our students, and I would say about 50% of our students are probably doing well. But we need a superintendent that isn't afraid of change, that will look outside the box, especially in this time we're looking at budget constraints and how we can do something different. I've always said with adversity comes opportunity, and I think we can take advantage of that now with a new superintendent leading the way.
And Mr. Neese?
Well, unfortunately, we don't get a voice in the new superintendent because they'll vote on that before. We'll get elected, but they'll vote on the new superintendent beforehand. I'm hoping they're going to select somebody from out of the box. We have promoted a lot of people from inside the system. I need somebody from outside of the system. I believe in the business model that in order to effect change, you can either sit there and watch what's happening, or you come in and break all the rules and start again. We really need somebody to disassemble the ASD and reassemble into something that delivers academic excellence. Our well-to-do children perform very low on the SAT, and if you can't do well with your well-to-do children on nationalized tests, how can you hope to do well with children that are struggling with a home life? So I want somebody with a lot of experience in bringing up academic achievement.
And Ms. Schuster, the question is to you.
For a new superintendent, I would look towards someone that is a born leader and a true leader, transparent with the budget, with the achievement gap, and everything else that the school board has to face. I wouldn't be objective toward. I mean, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't object to having someone from the Alaska, someone that is from Alaska, instead of searching outside, seeing as how what happened before when we brought someone from outside and he was only here for a few months. And that was very, very disruptive. So someone that is dedicated to the Anchorage School District.
Okay, we'll move over into the next segment of the show, and you'll be able to ask questions of each other. So Ms. Marcette, starting with you, you can ask either one of your opponents a question. They'll have 45 seconds to respond, and then you'll have a rebuttal.
Okay, my question's for Kay. Kay, I know that you've been a teacher in the school district for 17 years, but outside of your job as a school teacher, how have you been involved in improving education?
Well, since I've been working full-time for education, it's very difficult to do other things within the community. I've been involved with all of the schools and after-school sports and with my own children with their own schools. And so volunteering in their schools, always with their after-school sports and whatnot. And so I have been involved from elementary all the way up through high school with the schools.
And a rebuttal from you.
And I would just say that, you know, I think, well, I know I have a full-time job too, and I think what differentiates me from Kay is the fact that I have taken the time to be more involved in the school district and to serve on committees and to promote academic achievement. And I actually have been a substitute teacher trying to get into the classrooms and find out exactly what's going on, although it's not the same as the teachers, and teachers are in my eyes are very worth all their money in gold. And but I do feel there needs to be a more rounded. I have 16 years of banking experience, and so it needs to be more to a school board member than just being in a classroom.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Neese, it's now your opportunity.
Okay, I'm going to ask, I would love to ask Star about the $500 million CCAC put out there, but Kay, you were at one of our candidate forums, and you indicated that you thought that the student nutrition program was one of the places you'd cut in the budget. And since that's federally funded completely and you wouldn't be saving any money doing it, can you tell me how that's going to work?
Well, I think in every program in the Anchorage School District, there can be some efficiencies. And whether we save money for the state or whether we save money for the federal government, it's still saving money.
Okay, and a rebuttal from you, Mr. Neese.
But so you're going to save money by getting rid of it?
I would not get rid of the food program, the
Okay,
nutrition program. No, it just needs to be more efficient. It is very
I do want to say that there's not an opportunity to respond back and forth during rebuttal, so you can either end your time or you can continue.
No, I'd just like to, the money is federally funded. It's federally mandated. It has to exist. It's part of Johnson's war on poverty. You don't get an option of not having it. So you're not going to be saving any money. You will lose federal dollars for the Anchorage School District if you discontinue the nutrition program.
And now, Ms. Schuster, it's your opportunity to ask either one of them.
The money can be also, it could be much more efficient.
Well, not a rebuttal, but an opportunity for you to ask
a
question.
Question.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Star, in a past questionnaire, you said that you would want to return to the benefit program. I can't remember the name of it now.
Defined benefits.
Thank you. Defined benefit programs for the teachers. Okay. And I just don't know how we could possibly pay for it with the fiscal constraints that we're going to. How can we make that opportunity arise for our teachers again?
Well, you know, I have to say with our legislator, with our budget, it probably is not going to happen. But I do think that we do need to have a retirement for our teachers because we don't have one. You know, if you go to any investment, they will tell you that a 401 is not a retirement program, and they don't get paid Social Security. So we have to do something. Defined benefit plan was a great program. If we can't do that, we need to start thinking outside the box and working with our legislators and see what we can do to provide some type of retirement for our teachers so that we can retain them and keep them here in Alaska.
Okay, and a rebuttal from you.
I would like to also offer that to teachers. I just don't understand how we can afford it, but I do believe that we do need to get teachers here and keep them here, motivated to stay in Alaska, in Anchorage, and continue teaching.
Well, that is a great segue to returning back to the questions. And my next one for you, Ms. Marcette, is what do you think the district should do to attract and retain qualified teachers, particularly special education teachers?
Ooh, well, you know, it's not just an Anchorage problem or an Alaskan problem, it's a national problem. Fewer individuals are getting into education, and it has to do with, you know, the long hours, the, some cases little pay, no retirement, the challenges in the classroom, the support from the community, the support from the parents. I think there's just fewer people are looking at education in whole as a job, and special education is right up there. Last time I looked, we had 28 vacant special education teachers that we cannot fill, and they do have a recruiter now. We've been going out there, and I don't know if you've seen the ads that are running on Facebook, but it's going to be a challenge because we're going to be competing with everyone else in the United States to fill those positions.
Thank you. And Mr. Neese, attracting and retaining qualified teachers.
Attracting and retaining qualified teachers. The state pays the district 1.2 of the BSA for every special ed child. I don't know why you can't pay the special ed teachers 1.2 of the regular salary scale. Special ed teachers are like saints. They've given such a huge plate of work to do. We burn them out. We burn them out really quick. They usually don't even make it to 20 years. I've worked with a lot of special ed teachers, and they're out at 15, 16, 17 years because you give them too much work to do. And the way you fix that and retain teachers is you've got to hire. There was a really good ISER report that talked about why aren't they teaching. And the main reason that they're not teaching is because the ASD reaches out and hires people that are very expensive. They don't bring in the new teachers, they don't train them, and they certainly don't give beginning special ed teachers a lighter load, and they've got to lighten the load. They're carrying too much.
Okay, and Ms. Schuster, do you?
The University Center, I do believe, the university, our UAA, if we can promote the program much more, I think that we would get more teachers, especially in the special education department. There are always openings in special education, and it is a wonderful profession. I've been doing it for 17 years and love it, and I want to continue doing it in some capacity. But to retain quality teachers also, we need to have professional development and continue supporting those teachers. Right now, with the budget constraints, we have quit supporting them as much as we have in the past. Over the past 5 years, it's really gone down, and the teachers will tell you they don't feel supported. And so, especially when we recruit from out of the state, that's 50% return back to their hometown.
Okay, and the next question, we'll start with you, Mr. Neese. How do you see the role of charter schools changing in the district in the next 5 to 10 years? And what does their relationship with neighborhood schools look like changing in the future?
Oh, okay, that's a really good question. Charter schools, as you know, are public schools. A lot of people think that we have the New York City model where they're not public schools and they don't use our teachers, but the board and the superintendent years ago decided that they would not house them in schools. We have space in schools. We could put them in schools. We'd save money. I'd like to see them expanding. We have very, very few charter schools in East Anchorage where we are struggling the most with our students. And for the most part, they are doing better work than our regular schools. They don't rob from our schools. They give parents choice. And the more you can give parents choice, the better. They have a policy in the ASD that allows public school buses to haul children to charter schools, but very few parents opt into that.
Okay, and Ms. Schuster, the same question to you on charter schools.
Charter schools, my kids attended an optional program, and we love that program, and we've also gone to their neighborhood programs, as we are right now. The district is moving towards accommodating more charter schools, and so they just hired someone in there to chair the charter school programs. And so there's a process that they have to go through. And like David said, was that our charter schools are different than ones on the out of state, many of them, because they do use our Anchorage School District teachers and our buildings a lot of the times too. And so, but they do have their own principals. And so it's a little bit different. And their test scores do end up being a little bit superior to the neighborhood program. But
Okay. And Ms. Marcette, the same question on charter schools to you.
Well, I think we have to take a closer look at our charter schools. I mean, I was on the advisory board for the first alternative school in North Pole, and so I do believe in optional programs and charter schools if they provide a benefit to the student. If you can truly show me that that charter school or that alternative school, based on its model, will provide that child with a better academic outcome, I think that's one of the things we need to be looking at as a board in a school district. Right now, with budget constraints, I think we're going to have to look very closely at any new programs or charter schools or anything that we bring into the school district until we get back on board.
Okay. Ms. Schuster, we'll go to you next for this question. Do you believe there should be more or less testing in schools? And I'm curious what your opinion is of the recently administered Alaska Measures of Progress test.
The statewide test, the AMP, we use so much of our time as teachers prepping ourselves and also our students that we waste days of instructional time. And the AMP has not given us results that we can use for anything. And so, but I know it's mandated by the federal government, and it was mandated when we had the SBAs from the Bush administration, and now Obama's administration is mandating another, the same sort of test, but we have more freedom to give what test we'd like to. We do way too much testing. And so the testing that we already do in the classroom is sufficient enough that we should not have to do the statewide assessments.
Okay, and Ms. Marcet?
We do a lot of testing, and primarily in our elementary schools. We have our Ames Web, which we do the beginning, the middle, and the end of the year, that is supposed to measure growth. As far as the AMP goes, I mean, it really hasn't been determined if it's going to continue or if we're looking for a new one. I mean, I know it's been out there, but there's really been nothing definite yet. It did provide us numbers, and those numbers were very dismal, and so I'm wondering if it's because of the numbers that they provided that they're saying it doesn't look good. I mean, I'm not sure what they based that on, and I'd have to have more information from the Department of Education to know why they're throwing this out, just because they say it doesn't measure what they were looking for.
All right, and Mr. Neese, testing.
All right, so when I started in '83, we gave one test a year. It was the Iowa Test of Basic Skills. It was one day for 2 hours or 3 hours, and kids took pencil paper and you got a result back to the parent that said, here's how your kid did compared to the kids in Iowa, and here's their percentile ranking. You can see if they're above or below on their math, and that's a very efficient tool. We went away from it because it costs a little more. The adaptive tests they're using for AMP unfortunately produce the results that the national tests have been producing, which is that we're not doing as well as we said we were doing under standards-based assessments. I don't like the amount of time it takes. It takes an incredible amount of time to test everybody because you have to have a computer in front of them. I favor a very simple pencil and paper test. Give the parents the feedback they need to know. You had a child, you would want to know how they're doing in school for reading and writing.
Okay, and our last round of questions before we move over into the closing statements from each of you. So, Ms. Marcet, the question starts with you. How supportive are you of the 2016 bond proposal going before voters this election, and what recommendations do you have for the way projects are selected for upgrade?
Well, I'm on the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee, so I am part of a committee. I've been on there for about 5 years now that puts these bonds together and presents them to the school board, and then they can vote on them. I'm very supportive of the bond. I realize that it's going to bring our taxes up, but I do believe that everybody has to share in the expense of education because it is for the benefit of everyone. I'd like to see a school tax come back into play so that it is more evenly distributed, if that would relieve some of the tax burden on the homeowners. But everything in that bond is critical, and you know, we have a lot more maintenance projects, and our CIP is going to be changing, the 6-year CIP.
Okay, Mr. Neese, the bond.
It's a terrible idea. The legislature said, look, we're not going to give you any more money. They didn't say it because they wanted you to go out and ask for more money. They said it's like we can't afford what we're doing right now. So it's kind of like a kid on spring break with a credit card. It's like, no, cut them off. So no on the bonds. One of the key issues is if you live in Eagle River and Chugiak, you're going to pay $1 million interest on 27 buses if you pass this bond, and not a single one of those ASD buses is going to service your area. So it's a terrible idea. There should be a moratorium to match how long the legislature has indicated they won't. That'll save you $150 million of being able to pay off bonds.
Okay, and Ms. Schuster, the bond.
The bonds are difficult because the Anchorage School District did purchase the buildings, and now the district is responsible for maintaining those buildings. If we didn't own the buildings, then we would probably have more of an options. If it's health and safety, then we absolutely need to pass the bonds. For school buses, that's not too much health and safety, and so I agree with David on that it's a difficult decision. But and also, it's going to be brought up to the taxpayers, property taxpayers, are going to be the ones that are paying for the bonds from now on.
Okay. That concludes the questions that we have time for, but we'll go back to closing statements in the same order as we started with Ms. Marcet. The first round goes to you.
Well, I'm Star Marcet. I'm running for Anchorage School Board Seat B. I'd appreciate your vote on April 5th. I do have the experience, the knowledge, the fortitude, and the compassion and commitment to being your next school board member. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Neese.
Yeah, I'm David Neese. I'm the Back to Basics candidate. I think the Anchorage School District is doing a terrible job on achievement. I think the teachers are working really hard against a lot of things they shouldn't have to work against. I'm for reduced overhead. I'm for more money going into the classroom. I'm the guy that can get things done.
Okay, and Ms. Schuster.
I'm Kay Schuster, running for Seat B. I would appreciate your vote on April 5th. I do have experience in the classroom and outside the classroom. My husband and I own and operate an air taxi service, and so we have some outside business experience also to be able to work, and also I can work as a team member with the administration, with the teachers. I truly believe I would be the best candidate for the school board.
Thank you. And that's all the time we have for this program. You've just heard from candidates for seats A and B on the Anchorage School Board. I'd like to thank my guests for coming on our show, and I'd especially like to thank you at home for watching and listening along with us. Just a reminder that municipal elections are on April 5th, although early voting is open now. And be sure to tune into Running at 7 p.m. tomorrow when we meet the candidates for all 5 races for seats on the Anchorage Assembly. I'm Zachariah Hughes. Have a great night.